Hi everyone. Welcome back to our podcast Hey English. This is episode number 5. I'm Philip, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Sara.
Hey everyone! Thanks for tuning in. We're really excited about today's episode because we're diving into a topic that's fun and universal: hobbies and interests.
That's right, Sara. Hobbies are such an important part of our lives. They help us relax, meet new people, and even learn new skills. Today, we're going to explore different types of hobbies, how to talk about them, and some cool English vocabulary and phrases that go along with them.
Exactly. Whether you love reading, playing sports, crafting, or something else entirely, there's a lot we can learn from each other. We'll be sharing our own hobbies too, and we'd love to hear about yours in the comments.
And for those of you who are learning English, this is a great opportunity to pick up some new words and phrases. We'll be explaining everything as we go, so don't worry if you're just starting out.
Plus, we'll be breaking down some grammar points and idioms related to hobbies. It's going to be a fun and educational ride.
So, sit back, relax, and let's get started on this journey through the world of hobbies and interests.
We hope you enjoy the episode and find it both entertaining and informative. Let's jump right in.
Alright, let's dive into our first segment: common hobbies and interests. There are so many different hobbies out there, and they can vary a lot depending on where you live. But some hobbies are pretty universal.
Definitely. Let's start with some popular ones here in the US. One big one is reading. Whether it's novels, comics, or even audiobooks, lots of people love getting lost in a good story.
Oh, absolutely. And then you have sports. Playing sports like basketball, soccer, or tennis is a great way to stay active and have fun. Plus, it's a fantastic way to meet new people.
For sure. And speaking of meeting new people, another popular hobby is music. Whether you're playing an instrument, singing, or just listening to your favorite bands, music is a huge part of many people's lives.
I couldn't agree more. Then there's travel. Exploring new places, trying new foods, and experiencing different cultures is an amazing way to spend your free time.
Yes. And let's not forget about crafting. Hobbies like knitting, painting, and DIY projects are super popular, especially because they're so relaxing and rewarding.
Those are all great examples. Now, let's talk a bit about the vocabulary that goes along with hobbies. When we talk about things we enjoy doing in our free time, we often use the term pastime.
Exactly. A pastime is just another word for a hobby or leisure activity. For example, you might say, reading is one of my favorite pastimes.
Another useful word is hobbyist. This refers to someone who regularly engages in a particular hobby. Like, if you love painting, you might call yourself a painting hobbyist.
Right. And when you're talking about what you like to do, you can use phrases like I'm really into, or I spend a lot of time. For example, I'm really into hiking, or I spend a lot of time gardening.
Those are great phrases to know. And here's a quick grammar tip: when you're describing activities you enjoy, you'll often use gerunds, which are verbs that act like nouns and end in ing. So you'd say, I enjoy reading, or she loves painting.
Exactly. Using gerunds makes your sentences flow better and sound more natural. So, now that we've covered some common hobbies and a bit of vocabulary, let's move on to how to talk about your hobbies in a conversation.
Yes, let's do that. But before we move on, we'd love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite hobbies? Let us know in the comments below.
We can't wait to read about them. Next, we're going to talk about how to share your hobbies in a conversation. Whether you're meeting someone new or chatting with friends, sharing your hobbies is a great way to connect.
Absolutely. Let's start with some tips on how to bring up your hobbies naturally. One easy way is to ask the other person about their hobbies first. For example, you might say, "So, what do you like to do in your free time?"
That's a great icebreaker. Once they've shared, you can jump in with your own hobbies. A good way to start is by saying, I'm really into, or one of my favorite things to do is, for instance, I'm really into photography, or one of my favorite things to do is hiking.
Those are perfect. And if you want to expand the conversation, you can add a little more detail. For example, I'm really into photography. I love capturing landscapes and nature shots. It's so relaxing and rewarding.
Exactly. Giving a bit of detail makes your conversation more interesting and gives the other person more to respond to. Plus, it can lead to discovering shared interests.
Definitely. And here's a handy phrase: I spend a lot of time. This is great for emphasizing how passionate you are about your hobby. For example, I spend a lot of time gardening. It's amazing to watch things grow from seeds.
I love that. It shows dedication and can make your hobby sound even more interesting. Now, let's do a quick role play to show how this might work in a real conversation. Ready, Philip?
Ready! Okay, let's say we've just met at a friend's party.
Hi, I'm Sara. Nice to meet you. So, what do you like to do in your free time?
Hi Sarah, nice to meet you too. I'm really into cooking. I love experimenting with new recipes and ingredients. How about you?
That sounds awesome. I'm a big fan of painting. I spend a lot of time working on landscapes and abstract art. It's a great way to unwind after a long day.
That's so cool. Do you have a favorite type of cuisine to cook?
I do. I really enjoy cooking Italian food. There's something so comforting about a homemade pasta dish. What about your paintings? Do you have a favorite subject to paint?
I love painting nature scenes. There's something so peaceful about capturing the beauty of the outdoors.
That's great. It sounds like we both have creative hobbies that help us relax and enjoy our free time.
Exactly. And that's how you can easily share your hobbies in a conversation.
Perfect. Just remember to keep it natural and be genuinely interested in the other person's hobbies as well. It makes for a much more engaging conversation.
Absolutely. And now that we've covered how to talk about your hobbies, let's move on to explaining them in more detail. This is really useful if someone asks you to tell them more about what you do.
That's right, Philip. When you explain your hobbies, you want to be clear and engaging. Let's start with a few tips on how to do that. First, it's helpful to break down your hobby into simple steps or elements. This makes it easier for the other person to understand, especially if they're not familiar with it.
Absolutely. For example, if your hobby is photography, you could start by explaining the basics. You might say, photography is all about capturing images with a camera. I like to focus on landscapes, which means I often take pictures of nature, like mountains, forests, and rivers.
Great point. Adding details about why you enjoy the hobby can also make your explanation more interesting. You could say, I love photography because it allows me to capture the beauty of nature and share it with others. It's also a great way to relax and be creative.
That's a great approach. You can also talk about any tools or equipment you use. For instance, I use a DSLR camera with a variety of lenses to capture different types of shots. I also enjoy editing my photos on the computer to enhance the colors and details.
Perfect. Now let's do a quick role play to show how you might explain a hobby in a conversation. Philip, why don't you ask me about one of my hobbies?
Sure. So Sarah, I heard you're really into painting. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. Painting is one of my favorite hobbies. It involves creating images on a canvas using paints. I primarily use acrylic paints because they dry quickly and are easy to work with. I love painting landscapes and abstract designs.
That sounds interesting. What do you enjoy most about painting?
I love how painting allows me to express my creativity and relax at the same time. There's something really satisfying about seeing a blank canvas turn into a beautiful piece of art. Plus, it's a great way to unwind after a long day.
I can see how that would be relaxing. Do you have any tips for someone who wants to start painting?
Definitely. Start with some basic supplies like a set of acrylic paints, a few brushes, and some canvas or paper. Don't be afraid to experiment and try different techniques. And most importantly, have fun with it. Painting should be an enjoyable and stress-free activity.
Those are great tips. Thanks for sharing, Sarah.
You're welcome. And that's how you can explain your hobbies in a way that's clear and engaging.
Exactly. And here's some vocabulary that might be useful when explaining your hobbies: enthusiast for someone passionate about a hobby, beginner for someone just starting, and expert for someone very skilled.
Right. And don't forget about words like gear or equipment to describe the tools you use, and technique for the methods you use in your hobby.
Great points, Sarah. Now, let's move on to our next segment, where we'll talk about idioms and expressions related to hobbies. This is going to be fun.
Idioms are phrases where the meaning isn't always obvious from the individual words, and they add a lot of color to our language.
That's right, Sarah. Let's start with a few common idioms that relate to hobbies and interests. One of my favorites is hit the books. It means to study hard. So, if someone says, "I'm going to hit the books this weekend," they're planning to spend a lot of time studying.
That's a good one. Another popular idiom is burn the midnight oil. This means to stay up late working on something, usually studying or working on a project. For example, she's burning the midnight oil to finish her painting.
I like that one. Here's another: a bookworm. This is someone who loves reading. If you're always seen with a book in your hand, you might be called a bookworm.
That's a fun one. And if someone says, "I'm a couch potato," they mean they spend a lot of time sitting and watching TV. It's usually said in a humorous or self-deprecating way.
Definitely. Another great idiom is to have a green thumb. This means you're good at gardening and plants tend to thrive under your care. For example, my neighbor has a green thumb, her garden is always beautiful.
And let's not forget get the ball rolling. This means to start something, especially an activity or process. For instance, let's get the ball rolling on this project means let's start working on this project.
These idioms are great for adding flavor to your conversations. Let's give some examples of how you might use them when talking about hobbies.
Sure. I can start. I've been burning the midnight oil trying to finish my latest painting. It's a challenging piece, but I'm really enjoying it.
That's a good example. Here's another: I'm a total bookworm. I love spending my weekends curled up with a good novel.
Perfect. And how about, I need to hit the books this week? I have a big exam coming up and I want to make sure I'm prepared.
Great examples, Sarah. And if you're talking about gardening, you might say, "I don't have a green thumb, but I'm trying to learn how to take care of my plants better."
Exactly. And remember, idioms can make your language sound more natural and native-like, but it's important to use them in the right context. Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. And if you're ever unsure about how to use an idiom, just ask someone or look it up. It's a great way to expand your vocabulary and make your English more vibrant.
So, now that we've covered some fun idioms and expressions, let's move on to our next segment. We'll be talking about the benefits of having hobbies and how they can improve your life. That's right, Philip. Let's start with the physical benefits. Many hobbies, like playing sports, hiking, or dancing, keep you active and help you stay in shape. Regular physical activity is great for your overall health and well-being.
Absolutely. And then there are the mental benefits. Hobbies can be a fantastic way to reduce stress and relax. Engaging in something you enjoy can help take your mind off daily worries and give you a much-needed mental break.
Exactly. For example, activities like knitting, painting, or gardening can be very meditative and calming. They help you focus on the present moment and can be a great way to practice mindfulness.
Another big benefit is personal growth. Hobbies often involve learning new skills and challenging yourself. Whether it's mastering a musical instrument, learning a new language, or cooking new recipes, hobbies can help you grow and improve as a person.
Yes, and let's not forget the social benefits. Many hobbies are also social activities. Joining clubs, teams, or classes related to your interests is a wonderful way to meet new people and make friends. It can also help you feel more connected to your community.
Definitely. Sharing a hobby with others can create strong bonds and give you a sense of belonging. Plus, having a shared interest makes it easier to strike up conversations and build relationships.
Hobbies can also boost your creativity. Engaging in creative activities like writing, painting, or crafting can stimulate your imagination and help you think outside the box. This creativity can even spill over into other areas of your life, helping you solve problems and come up with new ideas.
And finally, hobbies can give you a sense of accomplishment. Completing a project, reaching a new level of skill, or achieving a personal goal in your hobby can be incredibly rewarding. It boosts your confidence and gives you something to be proud of.
So true. Hobbies really do enrich our lives in so many ways. They keep us active, help us relax, promote personal growth, connect us with others, boost our creativity, and give us a sense of achievement.
We'd love to hear from you, our listeners. What are some of the benefits you've experienced from your hobbies? Share your stories in the comments below.
Yes, please do. We love hearing how hobbies have positively impacted your lives. Now, let's move on to our final segment, where we'll discuss some tips on finding new hobbies and interests. In our final segment, we're going to talk about how to find new hobbies and interests. If you're looking to try something new or just want to add a bit more excitement to your life, this segment is for you.
Absolutely. Finding new hobbies can be a lot of fun, and it's a great way to explore your interests. One of the best ways to discover a new hobby is to try something you've always been curious about. Have you ever thought, "I'd love to try that, but never got around to it"? Now's the time.
Yes. Another great approach is to take classes or workshops. Many community centers, online platforms, and local organizations offer courses on a variety of subjects, from cooking to photography to dance. It's a fantastic way to learn new skills and meet people with similar interests.
Online resources are also a goldmine. Websites, YouTube channels, and social media groups can introduce you to new hobbies and provide tutorials. For example, if you're interested in drawing, you can find countless tutorials online to get you started.
And don't forget about local events and clubs. Check out community boards, social media, or meetup apps to find groups that share your interests. Joining a club can be a great way to dive deeper into a hobby and connect with others who have similar passions.
Absolutely. And sometimes, you don't need to look far for inspiration. Think about your existing interests and see how you can expand them. For example, if you love reading, you might enjoy starting a book club or even writing your own stories.
Great point, Philip. Also, be open to experimenting. It's okay if your first attempt at a new hobby isn't a perfect match. The key is to enjoy the process and see what resonates with you.
Exactly. And remember, finding a new hobby is all about exploration and fun. It's an opportunity to learn more about yourself and what you enjoy. So don't be afraid to try new things and see where your interests take you.
Well said. We hope these tips help you find some new hobbies that you'll love.
Thanks for joining us today. We've had a great time exploring hobbies and interests with you.
Absolutely. Don't forget to share your new hobby discoveries and experiences in the comments. We'd love to hear what you find.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. We've had a fantastic time talking about hobbies and interests, from common hobbies to idioms and the benefits of having them.
We hope you enjoyed our discussion and picked up some useful tips and vocabulary along the way. Whether you're a seasoned hobbyist or just looking to try something new, we've covered a lot of ground.
Absolutely. If you found some new inspiration or learned something new today, we'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to let us know. We're always looking for new ideas and love hearing from our listeners.
Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. We've got plenty of exciting content in store for you.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate your support and can't wait to connect with you again soon.
Until next time, keep exploring your hobbies and enjoying the things you love.
Bye for now, everyone. Have a great day.
Take care.